have my special guest here, Kai Danzberg. You want to introduce yourself for us, Kai?
Hey, I'm Kai Danzberg. I don't know how to introduce myself, but I think we're gonna talk about stuff. That there's a lot of people don't know me, I think, because I'm not that known. But yeah, I'm musician and did tons of work on tons of different albums. Yeah, hi.
So Kai is a German-based musician slash producer. He's also an incredible audio engineer, and he is a huge, huge impact when it comes to bringing back the older sound into the modern era. If y'all don't know, Drake Bell just dropped an album called Nonstop Flight, and Kai Dansberg was part of that. So it's a really, really good album. If y'all haven't heard it, go check it out. But needless to say, back to Kai. I would like to know, Kai, how did your musical journey first start?
How did my journey start? Pretty early, I'd say. I think I started to play the drums when I was about 4 or 5. I don't know, but I didn't have my own drum set back then. So I used kitchen utensils from my mother, and I didn't ask her, so she was not amused about that. And also, it was not ours. She got it from someone else, and so I like built my drum set in my room and played 2 songs I like, and this is how I kind of started, or how my parents started to notice that I have some kind of rhythm. So yeah, and so I got my first drum set really, really quick, and I started to do like guitar. I think from that point on, I really started also to write and sing, just like do the production thing. So yeah, first I had only like I was like a drummer in different bands, and yeah, but I'm glad I started to do my own stuff because I always felt kind of unappreciated as a drummer. I think a lot of drummers experience that, but
Is that what led you into being a singer?
yeah, I mean, I started to play guitar. I sung before that as well. Like I just wanted to like sing along to the guitar playing, and I learned my first chords, I'm trying to remember which is the first song I tried to play. I think it was, I don't know if you know the band the Kooks,
Yes.
the Kooks, and they had a song called Ula.
Yes,
It's
sir.
I think it was released in 2006, and so I think I tried to play that song because I loved the album they put out in that year, and so I was singing along, but I didn't sing good back then. So I really started from like zero and never had lessons or something. So it took me a few years to actually become somehow good.
So is singing, is that something that can be taught, something that you can learn, or is it more of something that you have to be born with? Because I know you learned, but can everyone learn?
I mean, I don't know if I'm the right person to ask that, but I mean, we all have our, I think, our opinions about that, and I think um, you definitely can learn stuff on singing. Like, I mean, you probably, if you don't have like, if you are not like a music person, maybe you can't do it like Mariah Carey or someone,
A legend.
like a legend, but maybe you can get better for sure. um but of course there are people that just can't do it. I mean, that's also existing. But I'm not a singing expert, so but my opinion is you can learn certain things in singing.
For sure. I actually want to dial back to your childhood. You said you learned how to play the drums around 3 to 4 with utensils at the house. So,
Yeah,
how was your childhood like? So, did you go outside a lot? Because
yeah,
you're Germany based, correct?
yeah. I'm from Germany,
So I would love to
and
hear your adolescent time because I want to compare it to pretty much how the states are to Germany. See how the cultures differentiate on upbringing.
yeah. Most of the time we were living in like small towns, like small
Hmm.
villages. Um, we really weren't living like in the city. That that was later in my life, but I mean, it was in the 90s when I was born in the 90s, and I had like a few years in my childhood. I also was like experience the late 90s. And I mean, yeah, we were out a lot because, there was no cell phones and smartphones, whatever. And I was pretty much out every day playing with friends. I also had no, I don't know how you call it, like a PlayStation. I didn't had that. I mean, my parents probably could have afforded, but I was not so interested in that. I had all my friends had this stuff. The 90s were like Game Boy years, I would say. But I can't say if how different it is from being in the US because I've never been in the US, and
Never?
never. I've never been there.
I feel like you'd be in shock if you came here because the states are pretty crazy these days. Probably would have been better 10 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know, but I mean, I would love to come over sometime, um, because I know a lot of people there. Obviously, I want to meet, and also I just know like the states from all the movies because in Germany, obviously we have all the American movies as well, and they
Hmm.
are way more successful than the German movies.
Really?
I don't know if you ever have seen a German movie; it's not good.
Well, I don't
And
speak the language, so from a US perspective is the German language is very intimidating because it sounds very aggressive. So we just don't really learn it. I think the number one language we learn in the US is, well, outside of English, is Spanish, and I want to say French. People learn French a lot more than any other
Mhm,
language outside of Spanish. But
mhm.
yeah, there's a lot of memes on TikTok of like SpongeBob in German, and like the kids are like, "What is that? Why does he sound so angry?"
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I heard a lot about people from the US or
Hmm.
from somewhere thinking that German sounds aggressive, but I don't think so. But I think what really sounds aggressive is in Switzerland.
Yes,
You
for
need to
sure.
that even
I've heard
sounds
some
aggressive
snips.
to us. And yeah, but sometimes it happens that some movies in Germany became so big that they even get translated into other languages, and they gonna release gonna
Hmm.
release that in US as well. So that's why I was asking if you ever seen a German movie. But I had a good childhood. I had good parents. They always supported us because we were. I have three sisters and one brother.
It's a
One
big family.
little, yeah, and my oldest sister is actually living in London now, and my yeah, they always supported us and everything. So when I started music and stuff, my mother immediately like tried to support me, and like I got the drum set on my birthday. And when I started guitar and singing, she also supported me. She supported me even when I was not good at that time, and my dad as well. My childhood was good, but it was also not easy because I was the person who fits into like this system, like the school system and everything. It's not my thing. The first day in school was the worst day, kind of, to me. Don't think I found peace with that still till today. Besides school and stuff, my childhood was like, I think, really normal. Yeah, but as a child, I had no idea how it is in the US. Uh, no clue at all.
It's pretty toxic. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's pretty
Okay.
toxic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would love to see LA. I would love to see New York. Um,
Those are
I
beautiful.
think my favorite would be like in California, but maybe I heard from people, from like friends who were there. They were really excited going there, and when they arrived, they were like, "Damn, this is ugly." So, and I'm a little afraid. Um,
It's very expensive. It's
expensive,
one of the
yeah.
most expensive places in the world to live. And there's a reason why, well, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people from California migrate to Texas because that's where I'm from,
Mhm,
Texas. And it's the second biggest state in the States, and it has like the lowest tax rate. So if
mhm.
you struggle in Texas, then pretty much going anywhere else is going to be very difficult if you want to merge into a bigger place because Texas is one of the most affordable places to be in the States.
Mm.
California is a really, really good market to market yourself. You have so much opportunity career wise, especially if you're a talent. So California can be a good place. It's just you have to really bet on yourself to make it out there because
Hmm.
chances are you're either going to be homeless or you're going to have like four roommates in a small apartment just to make it
Yeah.
go by. Same thing with New York. You'll pay like $1,800 on a small little efficiency that's like 500 square feet at most if you're lucky.
Hmm.
So it's hard. It's very hard out there.
Yeah. I heard a lot about that. But I mean, talking about Germany, Germany is just boring. I have to say that
It's boring.
it's boring. It's totally. I mean, of course, if you don't live here, if you come from another um, country, maybe it's not boring to you. But I mean, to you, probably the US is totally boring, because you've been there all your life, maybe. And but Germany is, to me, really boring. There's no music here. I mean, you have music here, but the kind of music I do, no people are interested in that in Germany. Of course, you will find a handful of people all the time, but there's no market for that kind of music in Germany. And I know all the people I work with, like, are like from New York or from California, from Seattle, like from all that big cities I've never seen. I only seen in some like movies, and of course they look great in the movies. I don't know how they look in real life, but so I kind of started to when I really started to make that power pop music, whatever you would call it, um, like 6, 7 years ago, when I really got into that, I met a lot of people online from the US, and from that point on, I wanted to live there so bad because I had no people in Germany like doing music with me. I still don't have really anyone here, like one person maybe.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I definitely want to go to the US sometime. Um,
For
I mean,
visitation or
if I'd
permanently?
have enough money, I would probably live there. But I don't know. I don't know yet. It's not yet.
It's definitely a possibility. How is the process if you were to move to the U.S.? How would that process be for your end?
I definitely have to get a passport to even. I wouldn't even come into like into your country. I wouldn't go there. I couldn't if I don't have a passport. And guess what? I don't have a passport
So that's step
because
one.
yeah, that's step one. I didn't even do step one, but I'm pretty sure you have to get that if you want to stay longer than like half a year, I think.
Hmm.
But I mean, that's not something that will happen anytime soon.
Well, if you ever come to the Texas region, let me know. We could definitely hang out. I could show you around. It'd be awesome. But
Yeah,
regarding that,
I will let you know.
for sure, for sure. Regarding your musical journey, at what moment or age did you realize that, hey, I can actually make pretty good music if I keep trying? Like how did you know that this was going to be a route that you can actually take?
Ah, I've never had
Never.
that thought. Um, I mean, I had thoughts like, hey, I think I'm kind of good.
Hmm.
I'm not that bad, but I'm never thinking like I can do really great stuff. That's not my mind. And I think that maybe it would be good if I have a mind like that sometimes. In 2018, I made no, in 2017, I made an album called Pop Up Radio,
Hmm.
which was actually a collection of songs I wrote between 2014, 2017, I think. And I wrote a few new songs for that. And I made this like a free album because before I had released music before, and no one paid for that. So I was like, I just upload this for free, and you can, if people want to download it, just download it.
For sure.
And this kind of became crazy because I got a lot of positive reviews. I was like in magazines from Italy, like the classic rock magazine had my album reviewed, and someone from Italy I know sent me that magazine, and I was in other magazines, and it was crazy. And it was like a free album I released, and today I would say it has like shit songs on it, but um, most of that still is something I enjoy. And from that was like kind of the moment I knew I will like put all my time into music. I mean, I wanted to do that before as well. Like the last 20 years, I only wanted to do that, but I kind of didn't believe in myself. So I did stuff, but I didn't release it or I didn't show anyone. I never thought that I would be kind of good. So, and with that album, I got a lot of people telling me, "Hey, this album is cool," um, and got a lot of reviews, got a lot of new friends actually. Yeah, so that was kind of the moment I I knew, okay, I'm not gonna stop this anymore, um, and I will continue to do that. And I would also say since that album, since 2018, I think it was released January
Hmm.
2018. Um, I think I became better since that because I really spent every minute like analyzing music I love, like trying to copy that sound and just doing what I love all the time. And yeah, so I don't know if that answers your question, but I think 2018 was kind of like a change in my music life, whatever.
For sure. What I got out of that is no matter if you ever get recognition, if you ever get fame, fortune, whatever the case may be, you're going to do music regardless because this is something you love and you're passionate about. That's
Yeah,
basically what I got from that.
yeah. I mean, I did do music before, and no one cared. Um, and I mean, I still do it. I still work on my album since 3 years,
Hmm.
and no one cares. But I mean, I care. So if you have like great music, if you have good songs, there will be always people noticing that, and you will. I mean, I have my people who like to like listen to my stuff, and if there's more people, it's cool. If not, it's fine because I mean, obviously, I do a lot of work for other artists and not only my own music, and that's why it takes me so long to finish my record because I'm like since a few years I'm more focusing on writing and producing others for others. But it's a tough business. I mean, I'm doing that since so long, and you have to do it so long to get somewhere. It's so hard and frustrating, and everyone who starts music will learn it like after a few years, and everyone who's in music will be frustrated and will be at the point where you seriously think about, should I do something else because this doesn't work out? And I was at that point, like, I think once a year. I'm at that point, you know.
I used to do music too, and it gets very, very overwhelming with that feeling because you feel that as an artist. There's been times where I feel like I put hours into a song, and maybe at most 10 people click stream on it, and it's like, damn, like I'm over here
It
putting my
hurts.
heart into it, and no
Yeah.
one gives a damn about my record, which
Yeah.
it's humbling because it's like, okay, is it me? Is it my quality, or is it just my marketing? Is it my reach on social media? Do I need to be more in person out there promoting myself more? Like
Uh-huh.
it's a lot of combinations of things that can play into factor, which I learned was a matter of marketing because I
Yeah.
came from a very small town. I think the most streams I ever got on a song was like 2,000 and some type of number.
Hmm.
And for my hometown, that's actually pretty good because there's not many people who listen to that genre where I'm from.
Yeah.
Um, so it's I think if I would have kept going, it would have been fine. But life happens. You get busy. You can't really pursue it as much as you want, especially if you live like me. I'm in an apartment, so I can't have a whole music set up here and be
Hmm.
loud, and it kind of limits you.
Yeah. Um, it's definitely the marketing, because if you look at I mean, there's some artists, big artists, who are really not that good, and they still have many fans, and that's because they have good marketing, I think. And I have no clue about how to promote your song on social media and stuff. That I think I'm just a little too old to really know the best methods to do that, because years ago I was avoiding Instagram because I was like, no, I don't want to get Instagram. I have my Facebook and that's good enough.
For sure.
Now it's like completely different. I'm not at Facebook anymore. I mean, I am there, but I don't do a lot of stuff. And I prefer Instagram, and I love Instagram, but I have no clue how to promote a song. And but also I most of the time I just don't care, because I don't want to waste my time getting frustrated about like that I only have 500 views on my reel on Facebook, on Instagram. I'm not a, I'm not a social media expert. I'm a musician and producing, and I feel like it's kind of not fair that a lot of that all the musicians like have to be like a social media expert now, because that's how it works. It's kind of fucked up because I have no clue about that, and it's not something I want to put time into. I just want to post my stuff, and I want to I want people to see it, but that's not how it works today, sadly. That's the time we live in now. Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed by a lot of younger people who are like on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, and they kind of know what to do, how to post, how what to post to like get a lot of views and get a lot of followers. They just know. It's to me, it feels like they are just like 10 years younger than me, and they just know how that works, and I don't know how that works.
We live in a time where attention span is very minimal. So if you can get your point across within 10 to 15
Mm,
seconds, the most, you'll get the most interaction and replay value. If you can
mm,
push it to 30 seconds, you'll still be in favor of the algorithm. Anything past 30 seconds, it's tricky. It really depends because you have to capture the audience, and the algorithm's going to notice how many people are actually watching the whole clip versus how many people watched 5 seconds and swiped, because it still
mm.
counts as a view. But if they swiped, it's like algorithm's not going to promote that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also something I just don't like right now, is that 15 seconds, 5 seconds time spans, which is for music is not a good thing, because I see many artists releasing like 2 minutes songs. It's okay if your song is only 2 minutes, but I don't want to write to get views. I write to tell a story. So my songs are still 4 minutes, 5 minutes, or sometimes even longer.
I'm glad you do that. It's a lost art. People don't make music no more. They're just making catchy choruses, and they
Yeah.
throw in a half-ass verse and they call it music. You actually make music. That's why when because I'm a big Drake Bill stan, right? Well, not a stan, but
Hmm.
like I love his music. I've been following him since I first discovered him on the Amanda Show back when I was a child, right?
What do you mean by stan? Is that
Stan
a
is
fan,
a
but not for like an
so
audience
stan
fan?
is a term created by Eminem that it's an obsessive fan, which people use that
Oh, okay.
loosely these days. So I'm not a
Okay.
stan, but I do love his music. Um,
Okay.
and if he does anything outside of music, of course I'll check it out. But
Hmm.
if stuff's bad, I will say it's bad. But honestly, I feel like he's very underrated, underappreciated when it comes to his talent. But
Hmm.
when I saw he posted something, or maybe you posted it and tagged him, he shared it to his story and it said Kai Danzberg at the bottom. So I was like, oh, who is this guy he's connected to? Like,
Hmm.
because I saw that y'all were recording something. So I was like, oh, he's the guy behind the music that you don't really see too much. So I
Hmm.
clicked on it. Little did I know you were doing background vocals for him on a few tracks already. Y'all had a song called Diva Eyes together, and you're actually a part of his music. Like, I never knew that. So I saw your page and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna click on it because why not? And then
Hmm.
a few days later, or so to say, I saw that you were posting something related to your own music. So then I saw you had a YouTube link and I clicked on it and I started checking out your stuff and I was like, oh wow, this guy's actually really good. But from my
Thanks.
perspective, it's like it's one of those guys behind the scenes that does a lot of stuff that no one really understands or notices. So that's
Hmm.
when I was like, nah, we need more attention for these kind of guys because they really make the production happen.
Hmm. Yeah, thanks. I don't know what post exactly you mean. Maybe it's the Christmas, the Christmas song by Drake.
Yes.
Yeah, that was kind of the
Every day is Christmas with you or something like that.
yeah.
How did you even get into that? How did you get good at audio engineering and production? Because you went from drumming as a kid to
Hmm.
guitar to vocals, but then learning how to use the software to make all that happen. That's a whole process in itself, and that takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I think I did it the way kind of everyone do it now. Just start with it without any knowledge and get better. And when I started, I used GarageBand on the Mac, and that was I don't know when this software was released, but it was already available in like 2005, 2006. So I had that because we were like my family, we always had Apple computers because my mother used to work with that because she is a graphic designer.
Nice.
We always had Mac computers, and so I there was GarageBand on it, and we had uh, like a MIDI keyboard,
Hmm.
and I think I was just always fascinated by audio and video editing. I just I don't know why, but I mean, audio is more fascinating to me than video, obviously. But I also had my time where I thought I'm gonna be a movie maker. I had like my best friend in school when we were like 12. We made already movies, and I just started to work with like GarageBand, like layering stuff, like having like a cheap microphone. I got Logic. That's another software. I don't know if you know Logic.
Hmm.
I prefer it. I don't like Pro Tools. Most people use Pro Tools, but let me say Pro Tools is complicated. But
For
I
sure.
just started to work on that, and um, yeah, I mean, I also was how do you say that? I did study music production for like a year in like a school for that. Yeah. So I stopped with that after a year because I just it's not my way of learning, and also I didn't like the people there because they were all making weird music like techno metal and stuff like that.
I hate techno music. I can't
What
do it.
what the fuck? So I just continue to do it on my own way. Sometimes if even today if I don't know something, if I forgot something, how to do something, I look up YouTube, like a tutorial, like how to do whatever. I don't know. I can't. That's really hard for me to explain because you just you just do that for years and you don't notice how you get better. Um, I mean, you notice when you listen to like a mix which is 10 years old, you notice
For
that
sure.
you got better, but you don't notice in the process. So it's not easy to explain. But yeah, I just always love to like layer um, the instruments, vocals, and sometimes my songs. Sometimes I have like 150 layers from for a song because I'm
Wow.
yeah, and sometimes it's even too much. But I don't know. I think I have a song which is called Magic Night from my rock show album, and I remember that session had like almost 200 layers, which is crazy to mix. If I
Wow.
give that to someone else to mix, he will probably not take the job
Yeah,
because
he
it's like
probably have an
too hard to
aneurysm.
organize. But yeah, and a lot of vocal tracks in my songs as well because I love to layer harmonies over harmonies, um, and that's what I did on Drake's stuff as well. And I think that's, I mean, what his music also is known for. Yeah, so I can't tell you how to learn that. You just have to do it. And don't be too lazy, because a lot of people are too lazy to start. You have to start. When I got like Logic, which is like a more like a professional software to make music with, I also was lazy. I was like, "Oh, I don't want to learn it from zero now because I learned GarageBand all the years, and now I have that new software." You have to start. It's really important, because there's a lot of artists, they don't even know what a wave file is.
Just repetition. That's all it takes. Like anything in life, you only get good by repetition. They
Yeah.
teach you that in high school sports. The only way you get better is by repetition. You got to continuously do this over and over and over until you perfect it.
Yeah.
I think Bruce Lee said it that I don't fear the man who knows 1,000 kicks. I fear the man who's done a kick 1,000 times or something like that. Might have been
Yeah.
10,000, but
I don't
something like
know,
that.
but sounds good.
So when it came to audio engineering, you just did by repetition. Did the same thing happen when it came to production wise? I see you have a lot of guitars. I feel like you do your instruments on your own with your songs too.
I have a lot of guitars. I have too many guitars actually, because I wouldn't call myself a guitar player actually. I can play like few chords and stuff, and I play on my songs, but when it comes to solo thing, like playing a guitar solo, I can't. So I have my people playing guitar solos for me.
Nice.
Um or I mean, of course, if you are like a like a music production engineer, whatever, you know how to like fake a guitar solo in production, like play like single notes and cut it together and stuff. That's also working for me. But when I started making music, I thought like recording a guitar, for example, like it's really complicated. You have to like have a good amp and then put the mic on it. I mean, you can do it that way, and it makes sense if you want to have your amp sound. Um,
Hmm.
Definitely do it like that. If you have a good room, of course. You also can like go direct, use like virtual amps, which sometimes sound good, sometimes sound bad. I mean, the drums were challenging for me because I didn't record real drums on my albums before 2019, because I had no drum set and I had no place where I can like record. Um, and so from the money I got from my first album, because I released it on vinyl as well and made a crowdfunding and stuff. From the money, I got my first, or not my first, but my new drum set. My first drum set as an adult, because I didn't had. I think when I was a kid, like we moved somewhere, and my parents had to sell my drums. I don't know why. I can't remember.
Hmm.
But I got my drum set and got myself like a cheap microphone set to like record the drums. And my first recordings, they were not very good, but um yeah, I used a lot of, I think a lot of YouTube videos as well to know how to, what position, and in what position I have to put the mic to get the sound I want, and how do I mix it. I used, of course, used YouTube stuff, but also just did it. And I mean, it's the same way. On that point, I already like produced other artists, but we just never used real drums because no one had like a place to record them, and no one had money to like go into a studio and record, or have someone record them. Um, so yeah, um, it was kind of tough to figure out how to do certain things, and I'm pretty sure some stuff I still do in a weird way. But that's one something people don't understand, is that there's no rules in how to record stuff. There's no right or wrong. I mean, there's techniques you should avoid because it makes weird sounds or something, but there's no right or wrong. And I mean, I remember when I recorded bass guitar with my brother. He plays bass. I wanted to him to play like for a funky song, like with a few slaps on the
Hmm.
strings. And I knew if I want to get the slaps from the direct input of the interface, it would sound like shit, because to my ears it just doesn't sound good. Maybe it's also like a because the bass is too cheap or something. So what I did was I placed the microphone. I had like a microphone and the direct cable into the interface,
Hmm.
which we recorded at the same time. And the microphone I placed directly on his hands to just get the slap sounds. And I've never seen anyone doing that. And maybe someone would tell me, you shouldn't do that because it sounds like shit or something. But I don't care because in the mix it sounded great. I could, you can hear the slaps really good. Um, and there's no rules in the music production thing. Just do what sounds good. And if you do something and it doesn't sound good, do it different the next time. But and yeah, I see a lot of people uh like complaining,
Hmm.
not on my stuff, but I mean when I was in that school where I like for years where I was studying the music production thing, they had a lot of discussions, what's wrong, what's right. And I was never a part of that discussion because I think it's a waste of time. It's way better if you try all the techniques and you find your technique for whatever you want to do. And I mean, it's there's stuff you should avoid, of course. Like recording in that room I'm right now, recording vocals here is probably not the best idea because it's really um there's really like echo going on here. Though I recorded my last Christmas track right here because I didn't care, and it was just a Christmas track. But um, and you can't hear it in the mix. But I don't know. It's just I think it's way better if you learn on your own. If you don't, I mean, you can go to school or something to like a music school, whatever. But if you if you just start, you can also become as great as the people who learned on some school.
For sure. I actually really, really like that response because it's very, very good, especially for everyone now that's trying to be a musician. Because nowadays, you don't need to go to a school and you don't need to go to a label or a studio. You can literally do it yourself at your house. I know a
Mm,
guy, my first podcast, it's a funny name. His name is Jay Glizzy. He's a rapper. He
mhm,
actually makes all his songs on his cell phone. He has wired Apple headphones and he has a software in his phone that he creates music on,
mhm,
and he literally has a following right now. Like he gets 100,000 plus streams a year on Spotify, and he doesn't even have a real studio, which he's in the process of getting. But it just like he said the same thing. He's like the worst thing you could do is not do it
yeah,
because no one's waiting for your song. No one's waiting for your single to come out. No one's waiting for your album. It's like they don't know they're waiting for it until you put it out there for them to understand that it's out there.
yeah,
So that's the best advice he could have gave anyone that was young trying to be a musician is just do it. And it doesn't matter if you have 5 people listening or 500 or 500,000. Point is you got people listening to you. He said
even if
like if you have 200 people listening, that seems very minuscule because the world's so big. He's like imagine you pull up to an event and you have 200 people watching you perform. That's a
mm,
mob right there. He's like you have to put it to that perspective. You have 200 people on your side. Not many people
yeah,
can say that.
yeah, and even if people are telling you like that your music sucks or something, like even then, like keep doing it because um m- it's like most of the artists who start aren't really good. That's just normal. And I mean, I recently saw a video of Ed Sheeran. I mean, Ed Sheeran is, I don't know any of his songs. I mean, maybe one, but he's not my type of. It's not my type of music. But he seems like a cool guy. I saw an interview of him, like showing like one of his first recordings when he started to sing,
Hmm.
and it sounded like shit. And look where he is now. I bet many people told him like stop that. You can't. You are not a singer. To me it always looked weird when I saw interviews with like artists and they say, oh, you just have to believe in yourself and you just have to keep doing what you love and keep doing what you do. But it's kind of true.
I'm actually curious too, because you make a sound that is not very known anymore in today's world. I feel like if you were doing this music in the 70s and 80s, you would have been way bigger than you are right now. So, with that being said, who did you listen to growing up that kind of shaped your style of music, so to say?
Hmm. Um, I mean, my parents had a lot of vinyl records and music cassettes laying around, and there was a lot of Beatles stuff, but also there was a lot of Michael Jackson. I'm like one of the biggest Michael Jackson fans. I even have a Michael Jackson podcast in Germany, the only Michael Jackson podcast in Germany. I don't know. We had like just everything. My father had like cassettes with like mixtapes, with Beatles and all the classics, like Queen. A lot of Queen. My mother used to listen to Queen and the Beatles. She was a big Beatles fan actually when she was a kid. This was something we had like in the car when we were like driving road trips with the family. We always had some Beatles music, some Michael Jackson, some um I mean my father also had like a lot of 80s stuff um like Amy Stewart and all different kind of things. But Queen and the Beatles and Michael Jackson, that was always the artists um, that I liked from that collections. I became like a really how you would say like a Michael Jackson stan.
For sure.
I hope I use that word correctly, and I still am. And the Beatles and Queen and Jellyfish and Chris Rainbow and all that other artists, I discovered them kind of late. So for me, being interested in more of that pop genre was like I was interested in different things before that were closer to like the Beatles music genre. So I was listening, for example, to the Kooks, to that was more like indie pop, indie rock, and I listened to a lot of really punk rock and heavy, not heavy metal, but like metal stuff like Slipknot and all those.
For sure.
Uh, yeah, and I had like a punk band and stuff, and so I was at that point I was into music with guitars and drums in it. I mean, Michael Jackson also has like rock songs, but he's
Yes,
more
sir.
like a pop artist. And these like heavy genres more and more became boring to me. I noticed like listening to Queen and the Beatles, these harmonies they do in the vocals, like the vocal stacks, are just so interesting to me. And this kind of made me like I became obsessive with that. And also then I also discovered like Drake's music. Uh, I discovered him, of course, through Drake and Josh, through because that was, I think, like in every country, a big hit. I heard his music in that in Drake and Josh, and I fell in love with that. I mean, I had to get the albums to really know the songs because there were a lot of songs in the series in the episodes as well, but not too many. And then he had a song on his live DVD, joining a fan club, which he covered from Jellyfish. So he was kind of the one who introduced Jellyfish to me because I haven't heard Jellyfish before. So I checked out the original, and so yeah, I became obsessive with all of that music, artists which are not so like big. I mean, Beatles, yeah, Queen, yeah, but Jellyfish, not many people know them.
I didn't
And
know him until he said it either.
hmm?
I didn't know Jellyfish until Drake like put it on either. He's the one that
Yeah,
showed me like Stray Cats, Jellyfish, Dean
yeah,
Martin. He's the one that got me checking out all that music.
yeah. And so from Jellyfish, I checked out like Roger Joseph Manning Jr.'s solo records, which are also like I became really obsessive with them, and I don't know, I just and I used to analyze all the songs. I didn't only listen to the music, so I know like every vocal part, every like rhythm part, every guitar part, and I covered like all the songs I loved. I made covers of that, and I tried to make the cover songs like the instrumentals. I tried to make them like identical to the original.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I got crazy about all the music. Yeah, so that was kind of the start for me to um also learn to write these kind of songs in that kind of genre. Yeah, before that I only did like pop rock standard in German, which wasn't really good. But Roger Manning is still active in music, and he's a really nice guy. Um, I had him on two songs of mine as well. So
It's amazing.
he's yeah, and he's crazy talented.
I actually want to dive into this because you said you grew up watching Drake and Josh. So how did that feeling happen whenever you used to watch Drake on Drake and Josh, but then you ended up growing up to make music with him?
I can't even remember if I really like grew up watching Drake and Josh. I mean, I knew Drake and Josh. I watched it whenever I catched it on the TV.
Hmm.
I think I had to watch all the episodes later, like on the internet, because I never saw all the episodes on TV. The music, like the song with him, happened in 2019. We recorded that. He recorded that in December, I think. So it's like completely different time. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird because you know that person from like TV shows, from even from movies. He had this big movie called Superhero Movie, which was also like a
Yeah.
big thing and like worldwide. Even like people in my class in school knew that movie. So yeah, it's definitely kind of weird. But when we started to work on things, I wasn't like that crazy fan. I just loved his music. Like you said, knew that his music is underrated, and him as a musician was always kind of underrated because he's always the guy from Jack and Josh in the media and the actor Drake Bell. But I mean, it's definitely weird because you know that guy from the TV screen, and now you talk to him. But at the same time, he's like you and me, you know.
Well, for
I mean,
sure.
he has a lot of different experience. He was really successful in his music, and I think he's really successful right now again. Whenever I talked to him, he was like a normal dude.
From a lot of clips I see of him, like behind the scenes and everything, he looks like a very authentic person, which is cool because
Yeah.
he's not ego driven like a lot of Hollywood people are. Like he understands both sides of life, from what I can tell, and that's pretty fascinating. As far as making music with him, how did that first happen? Like, how did y'all cross paths musically?
So when I started making my own albums, I always had like people on it I feature on songs because I love to have features with people I like the music from them as well, you know.
Hmm.
And so I always, I mean, when I even on like Pop Up Radio, the album I released in 2018, I wanted to have Drake on that, but I couldn't because I had no contact. But when I released Pop Up Radio, some of his friends became friends with me. His name is J.K. Harrison, and
Hmm.
he worked for Brian Wilson many years, and I knew him only by name, but I didn't. I think he sent me like a friend request on like Facebook, and sent me a message, and I was like, yeah, are you really the one you say you are? And he was like, yeah, I am. And he sent me an email because I knew his email address, so he could prove he's really the person. And I think he liked my album, so he played on a few of my songs guitar and helped me here and there with stuff, and I helped him with his music sometimes. We still work on stuff together, and he worked on Drake's music like 20 years ago. Like on Telegraph, he was involved. He wrote Highway to Nowhere. That songs he wrote all alone at the disco with um, Drake and Mike and CJ and all that names. And he was also involved in the Lost album. And that was in that time when Drake was recording the Lost album. I was, I don't know, I can't remember. I think I did send Drake a message on Instagram, like telling him, hey man, I have this song. I would love to have you featured on that. Can you take a listen? Do you think it's possible and stuff? And he was like, send me the song. Here's my email address. So I sent him the song. I think like an hour later, he said, yeah, the song is cool. And so he didn't say, yeah, we can do it. He said, the song is cool. I was like, okay, what now? Should I
Yeah.
ask again? And then I was like, okay, maybe this is a yes. So I'm going to ask my friend, JK Harrison, I'm going to ask him if he can like record that with Drake in his studio. And then I told Drake, hey man, you can go to him. He will record that with you. And then it worked. Kind of, it worked. It was I didn't know if it works out, um, because I didn't know Drake. It
Hmm.
could have been that he's just too nice to say no. Could have been, but I got, I think like 2 weeks later, I got a message from my friend J.K. Harrison, and he was like, "I just recorded a teen star on your for your record, something like that." And I was like, "Really?" So I was really, um, I didn't think this will work out. So like 30 minutes later, I got like the vocal tracks sent from him and could release the song. And yeah, the song is still available. And this is kind of how I got the contact, because from that point on, we had like a few times messaging on Instagram, just on Instagram, no phones or something. I mean, I think I tried a few times, like gave him my number, said, yeah, if you want to add me on WhatsApp or whatever, but he didn't do it.
Of course.
He was at that time working on it on the Lost album. I wasn't involved in that because it was like a 2 weeks. They told me the story a few years later. It was like a really fast project. They really, I mean, because my friend J.K. Harrison was kind of, he was telling me later, hey man, I'm sorry, I should have brought you into that Lost album project, but it was all too fast. I couldn't do it. So I didn't work on that record. And then I don't know, Drake and I, we like had a few messaging back and forth, but we didn't like had like big contact or something. And I can't even remember how, but when he started working on Nonstop Flight,
Yes,
um,
sir.
when he started working on that, JK was also working on that. They were working on The Wayside with Danny Henry, who wrote the song with Drake. And he sent me the song and said, can you add backing vocals and whatever stuff you feel sounds good? So that was a demo. It sounds way different from the album version. And so I added like a wall of vocals, and I
Hmm.
added like harpsichord, I added some horns, and sent it back. And somehow Drake invited, can't remember exactly why, but it was on Instagram that Drake asked me to work on that album with him. And then we did that song. They did that song. I didn't do anything on that song besides the backing vocals, horns, and some other stuff. I think it was like early, no, it was late 2022
Hmm.
that Drake sent me on WhatsApp. He sent me like a bunch of demos. Like it was like a wall of like audio files, like little audio files, like 20 files. I don't know. Said, yeah, we can see if there's something good on that. So I picked out a few things, and the first thing I picked out on that was the song, which is now the song Nobody Knows from his record, which he only had like I think the first verse. So like, can you hear me? I'm
Yeah.
calling. I think it didn't had the same lyrics. Um, and I came up with the chorus and sent it then back to him, and I think he was impressed because he really sounded really happy in the voice messages he sent. Um, and from that point on, I tried to complete that song, so I wrote a bridge and stuff. Though he rewrote words because sometimes we weren't like in contact while writing stuff, so I just did something and he would change it later. But for that song, it was really quick. It was really quickly finished, I would say. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but he was on that live stream in Instagram when he was recording the vocals for that song in studio,
Yes, sir. I watched the
and
whole
he was
thing.
still writing the bridge while he was recording.
Just think about the angel that we grew. Just me and you.
All right. Well, I think because this first.
And so we hadn't like lyrics for the bridge on that point. Um, yeah. So and that's how we started to like work on stuff. And I think for I kind of relate it was different. I was not. I can be honest. I never was a fan of that song because I don't know if you know one part in that song. How I need to find the lyrics. She left me, I don't know, so
Because she
I
wasn't
didn't
one.
care, not
Yeah.
thinking of anything.
Yes,
Out the
sir.
window to the word. So that part is like 15 years old. That part is from a
Really?
completely different song, which was actually written with Backhouse Mike, aka Michael Cochran, his like partner for like It's Only Time, Telegraph, for his older records. They wrote a song called Out the Window, I think. And
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of that was the chorus, and the pre-chorus and chorus was she left me unaware, so I didn't care, not thinking of anything, and then out the window to. So that part is completely from one of Drake's unreleased songs, and we put it into that new written song, and that was actually his idea, not mine. And maybe that's the reason I never liked the song so much, because for me it didn't work together, because I already knew the original demo of the Out the Window thing, and it's from 2008. It kind of felt wrong to me to put them together, but I mean now it's it's like a year ago now when this was released, and 2 years ago when it was written. So now it works for me as well, and I like the song now. But back then I was kind of, I don't know. But Drake loved it, so we kept it. That's kind of how we did the songs. We never met in person because I'm from Germany.
Mm-hmm.
We had like a Zoom, not a Zoom, like a WhatsApp video call where we wrote "Fall Asleep Again." It has like 50s vibes, and that we wrote like in a 3 hours WhatsApp video call. I think it was even the first time we talked on phone, and it was kind of weird, but at the same time, it was totally normal. And yeah, we wrote that in like 3 hours, that song, and we didn't had a chorus, so when we ended the call, the chorus came into my head, so I recorded it and sent it to him, and he was going like into some. He had a friend in Mexico. He was in Mexico, and he had a friend there with a studio, and I think like he was like going to the studio immediately to record his vocals, to record a demo. So we had that song kind of finished as well. I remember that the bridge of the song, um, which is like "I've never been so lonely, don't wake me up again," blah blah blah. I think that bridge, I did that bridge actually
Mm-hmm.
in the demo version, but I didn't send it to Drake because I thought it sucks. So I didn't show him, because like I recorded it and I listened to it and I was like, no, that's not good. I'm not even gonna send it to him. And a few months later, when they were in a studio in Los Angeles, they were asking me, "Can you send us the stems of that demo?" And I sent them the stems, but I completely forgot that this bridge was in there. So they made a video call. It was Lee Miles. He produced like a lot of on the record,
Mm-hmm.
and Drake. They were in studio, and they called me with a video call, and were asking me the chords for that part, for that bridge part. And Lee was like having a guitar in his hand, like, "Hey, how can I play this? What are the chords?" And I was like, "I don't know chords because I never learned chords." And then I realized what part they talk about, and I was like, you wanna record that? You wanna use that bridge?" And both were like, it's pretty good, that bridge. And I was like, okay, if you think so. So that was another moment in my life where I didn't think what I did is great, you know. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even send it to him because I was like, nah, it's not. It's not good. It doesn't work. But now I listen to the finished song. It works great. But and all of those songs we did happened kind of like that. He had like little pieces he sent me, and he said to me, "Hey, maybe you have an idea for that." I sent a piece back. We also have unreleased ideas which didn't make the album, which some of them are great, some of them are not that great yet. Maybe I don't know if we ever gonna finish that. That's how you have to do it when you can't be in the same country. It's like WhatsApp, and sometimes like I got a lot of calls in the night when I was sleeping from them in the studio because they needed files again. It was crazy.
That's
That
pretty
album
awesome.
project really, I mean, it's really, I think, his most personal record. You
Yes.
have to look at the lyrics on the songs, and even if there's even, I mean, there's lyrics I wrote as well, but I always wrote it with Drake in mind. I always wrote from his perspective. I tried to make sure that it fits him and that that's something he would write. We definitely, I definitely tried to be like trying to be him when I presented him the lyrics. For example, the on I kind of relate. My golden days, they seem so far away. He had like he wrote something else, and I had the idea with the golden days. First, I had the idea golden times, and then I thought, hey, what if we use golden days because you have a song golden days on your first record,
On
which is a
Telegraph.
direct reference to that album, and also the song is about your past and stuff, so it would fit perfectly. So we did this all together, kind of. And but he, like, on this song he had like the most, I don't know, it was his thing. I just helped out like on some of the lines. It was a crazy album project. It took so long. I think he started working on this even 1 year before I was invited to work on this. And it, I don't know, when we had like a few songs finished, it was never safe if they even make the album because, you know, a lot of stuff happened behind the scenes. So it was always hard. I think for Drake, it was kind of hard to even finish the record because he was busy with other things. But I'm really glad actually that I think like 6 or 7 tracks I was involved with are on the record. And plus the Christmas track we did in the year before that, which I completely produced and sung all the backing harmony. That was also like a project which kind of we had no time because we talked about making a Christmas track in like September, and Drake
Mm-hmm.
sent me his idea in like November,
Oh
and
man.
then I produced all the instrumental and sung him his demo, and then he got sick and couldn't record. He had no voice, and then it was I think it was at that point already like end of November or even already December, and it was kind of like a really rushed Christmas track project, but it turned out good. I really, I even myself, I'm listening to it myself because I like it so much. It turned out so good. And we had um, Will Harrington playing piano on that. He also played on the Lost album and on Drake's newer songs. And yeah, I'm talking too much.
No, that's the whole point. You're the guest. That's the whole point. They're here. They're going to be listening for you, not for me. That's for
Yeah.
sure. But no, that's amazing. And I like how you gave the insight of how it is to work with him, especially the writing process, especially how you live in different countries. So the timing can be very chaotic, but y'all made a
Mm.
really, really, really great project. And I think now that he's on his comeback tour and he's getting recognition, he was just on The Masked Singer in the US
Yeah.
too. So the fact
Crazy.
that that's the first TV network as far as entertainment wise that put him back on, to me, that's the start of the domino effect because he was on a news, I forgot what news channel it was for entertainment, and he was talking
Mhm.
about the I Kind of Relate song and his upcoming album before it came out. That was like the start of everything. And then now that
Yeah.
he was on The Masked Singer, it's like I feel like his opportunities in the States are going to go back up and he's going to have his redemption again, which is
Mm.
fantastic because I feel like he was pushed out of Hollywood for no reason, no
Yeah.
actual reason, because
Definitely.
headlines, for some reason, they just discriminated against him. And it's so stupid because all the facts are online. Like, even in the court
Yeah.
documents, everything's there. There's no reason
So
to.
so easy. Actually, if you really want to know the truth, it's so easy to find out, but people are too lazy. But I just
Mhm.
wanted to say that because I forgot to mention that having like his new album has 30 songs, 35 tracks, 25 songs, um, and 10 like interludes. That never was planned. It
Really?
always, when we were like in conversations, we made jokes like, haha, this record gonna have like 30 songs, haha, the never ending album. That were jokes. We were joking, kind of like, hey, maybe you should just like release the record, we have enough songs for it. And he was always like, yeah, but we need more songs. And I don't know, maybe he knew that he wanted to do that double, triple album, whatever. Maybe he knew, but uh, all the other people had no clue that this is gonna be this big. We always thought it's gonna be like a 14 tracks record, um, or maybe 17. So now seeing that album is really 35 tracks is kind of funny because we were joking around. It's crazy, but I think it's good because it's really his most personal thing, personal record, and I think it's the album with the most different music genres, like mixed. It's really like a mix of all his genres he did in his all his like career.
For
um,
sure.
you have stuff which sounds like his first record. You have stuff which sound like his Latin pop, electronical.
My favorite one
Yeah.
is Extraordinary Life because I feel like his vocals were
Hmm.
extremely good on that track for
Yeah,
particular. It was
it's
extreme, like
great.
one of his best vocals I've ever heard him record.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a great song. I love that as well. I think my favorite is um, how's the how's the title? I have to admit I didn't listen too much to the record because it's different when you worked on it. It's from my perspective, it's a little different. It's not a really like a new album to me.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I have heard the songs many times, but my favorite is Waiting to Say.
That's a good one.
I don't know why it's called Waiting to Say. I always thought this is like a working title. I thought yeah, but that's kind of, I don't know, because it sounds like it's old records, but also modern. I don't know. It's cool.
Speaking of modern, a lot of people probably don't know this that are watching, but you're really big into the AI space, and you actually created. I think it's the first ever Michael Jackson AI album.
Yeah,
That was
that's the
extremely
secret,
great.
actually.
It's a secret.
Yeah, I did. No, it's not a secret, but
I was
actually,
like,
I don't talk too much about it because first, it's not online anymore. I mean, I don't have it online anymore because I got a cease and desist from Sony Music.
of
So,
course, that's typical of them.
so yeah, and I kind of started to not care anymore for the Michael Jackson fan works I did, because you always get in trouble with Sony or the Michael Jackson estate, and they don't support the fans, and they don't want to have fan made projects, which is like so stupid. I'm sorry, but
It is.
um, I mean, you want you want us to keep the legacy alive, but you at the same time you don't want us to play around with like songs and make some other remixes, whatever, some works out of it, like for fun, for fans, for like only. I don't get it. I don't get it. Why you have to send cease and desists to fans? I don't get it. So I don't. Yeah, I mean, the if you know how, you will find the album somewhere. But from my official website, I only have the instrumentals available because that's what they can't cease and desist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which you made the
but
whole songs. You honestly, you made the song. It's just it had his
yeah,
voice.
yeah, I made all the songs. I mean, I had help on some songs. Some friends helped me. They are credited, so yeah, and I sung a lot of the songs actually. Just the voice, just the conversion to the AI. Like, it doesn't sound like me anymore, but I'm on a lot of songs and I did most of the backing vocals, I think. But it's really not easy to do, and I agree that a lot of the songs actually doesn't sound so much like Michael Jackson, but it's just fun to do. And when this AI thing like came out, I got so damn addicted to it, really, really. When this came out, like the first like AI voice cloning thing, uh, I think it's like only like 1.5 years ago. It was like Christmas to me because I love such things, and AI can really also help in music production. I mean, also like AI separation. You know, when I have some time, I do these things as fun projects, and you can use AI, just separation, AI separation, like to like get cleaner sounds, cleaner vocals, whatever. You can remove like noise from your recordings. It's really, really great for music production. You can do great things. I also used AI to mix like a live album because the I think the snare drum microphone had so much bleed in it from other stuff, from guitars and from the other drum sounds. So with AI, I could like get a clean snare drum and could mix that properly. So I don't get why people are so afraid of AI shit. I mean, it can help you so good.
It's definitely just new. People don't like new. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's really cool. I actually wanted to dabble into AI a little bit because I know you can't post anything of an artist really without getting in trouble. But just to have on your own and just to create just for fun, it seems like a very fun thing to do.
yeah, definitely. I
I'm
mean, I
actually gonna run into him pretty soon because he has a concert here in Houston
yeah.
on the 7th, and I'm gonna be at that one, and I have like the VIP tables and all that stuff.
Oh
So
yeah,
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna run into him, and I won't make it a big deal. I'll just be like, hey, like I talked to Kai, I had him on a podcast, and great album, stuff like that. I actually
yeah.
want to get him on the podcast, but I understand that's a very difficult thing to do because
I
obviously
don't
I don't
know.
have a huge platform, so I don't know if he'll be open to it. But I'll run into him. I'll throw it out
I
there.
don't know. I mean, it's worth a try, I think.
I didn't even think I was gonna get you on the podcast. I just said, you know what? Why
Why?
not?
Why
Well,
not?
because we don't know each other at all. Like we had a few
Yeah,
conversations, but it was mostly about music every now and then. But thing is, when you don't know someone and they're on the internet, it's like, okay, I don't really know this person. What
yeah,
kind of podcast do they have? What are they gonna ask? It's always risky. You never know who you're gonna run into on the internet. So the fact that you got on this podcast was mind blowing to me. I've been talking about it with my friends in Discord for like 2.5 weeks, going crazy. Like, guys, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm gonna ask them. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. But they're like, you've always been good talking to people, so it shouldn't be a
I'm
big
nervous
deal.
as well when I go on a podcast and stuff. And I probably wouldn't have done this if it wasn't a podcast. If it was real life, I probably wouldn't have done it because in real life, I'm kind of introvert. And I
Hmm.
don't like meet new people and stuff. It's not my thing. I mean, a lot of musicians are weird, but I'm in my private. I'm weird as well. You can ask everyone.
The best
I'm
musicians in life are always weird. That's the way I've seen it. They've always got
I
some funny things to them.
if you yeah, if you say that, I will agree, but I don't call myself the best musician in the world. But I think the best musician in the world, probably one of the best musicians, was John Lennon,
For
I think.
sure.
And of course, you don't have to forget, and not many people know, but one of the best musicians are Roger Joseph Manning Jr. and Andy Sturmer from Jellyfish. They wrote like magical stuff. And I mean, you also don't have to forget. I don't know if you know him, but Backhouse Mike,
Yes.
aka Michael Cochran, his real name. That's kind of my hero. I learned all my techniques and stuff. I analyzed his stuff, and I never really talked to him. I mean, I was really close talking to him, but I didn't. I know people who are friends with him and stuff, but never talk to that guy. He's such a mystery,
He's
but
kind of in the shadows.
he totally. But he's like, if he's ever going back into making music, I'm gonna freak out because he's so good. And I mean, it would be cool if he gonna work with Drake again. To be honest,
I hope he does because they made
I would
really good
quit. I
music.
would quit if he say, "Hey, I wanna work with Drake." I would say, "All right, I'm out. I'm
Have
out.
fun.
I don't work with Drake anymore." I would
Um,
do that.
I first heard him on the Drake and Josh Go Hollywood movie. He sung the intro music.
Get it right.
Yes, and that's
And
what led me
the
to look him up on Spotify. I found out it's
yeah,
very hard to find music of him in general online. Like for me, at least on Spotify.
nowadays, yeah, it was online 15 years ago. You could find it a lot, and I have all saved.
Oh
But
man,
also he did the Christmas track for the Christmas movie,
yes,
Christmas Promise, and I mean he did all like he had his feature on Fool the World on It's Only Time, and he had all the backing vocals was mostly him and Chris Abraham, the co-producer. They were like a um three-piece band, studio production team, whatever. And yeah, I mean, I analyzed like the It's Only Time album. I analyzed all uh the tracks, and it's crazy.
really good albums. I feel like
Yeah,
they're very underrated. But I'm glad this whole redemption tour with Drake is bringing attention back to his old albums. People are actually going back and understanding the meaning behind the albums, which is a sensitive subject, but nevertheless, a great music in general. And it
yeah,
just shows that he's always been him when it comes to his music. Everything he records is mostly happened in his life. He's not
yeah,
just making that song for no reason, which kind of sucks because his best music comes whenever he has a rough time in his life. And unfortunately, he's had a lot of rough times, but it's come with great music. So I think it shows that there has to be a balance in between the two.
yeah.
Like
True.
his best one of his best projects before Nonstop Flight to me was the Nashville sessions.
Oh yeah, that leaked album that's never been released actually officially.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Thankfully, the people
Yeah,
who listened back then put it on YouTube, and no one's taken it down. Thankfully, but
yeah,
it's one of his best. I remember I was in high school and I was like a freshman in high school, and I used to have this music app on my phone. It was like an Android, and like, well, it sounds bad now, but taking to jail, whatever. You can illegally download music into your phone for free before
yeah,
Spotify, Apple Music took over, all that good stuff. And I remember I had that entire album or EP, whatever you want to call it. I had it in my phone, and I used to listen to it, and people in school were like, "Who are you listening to?" And I wouldn't tell them because at the time you can save the files under whatever you wanted. So I wouldn't tell them who it was. I would have them listen to the album with me. They're like, "Oh my god, he's really good. Who is this?" And I was like, "That's Drake Bell." They're like, "What?" They're like, "Get out of here. No way." But the thing is, people, they just box him into a child actor. But when they hear his music, they're like, "Oh wow, he's actually good." I'm like, he's been good. He's always been good. It's just no
Yeah.
one's ever really taken it seriously. Which that's
Yeah,
Nickelodeon's
that's
fault for not platforming him the
of
way they should
course
have.
that's the big problem with most of the people who were on kids shows. They, I don't know, people don't take them seriously, like you said. Yeah. So, but I never cared about that actually. So when I listened to Drake's music, I never had a problem telling people who that is because I mean, you can hear right now that the stuff is like
Good.
really inspired by the great music from the 60s and 70s and whatever, 50s maybe even. Um, so I don't I never cared, but I know, and a lot of teen kid stars, childhood stars, I think have that problem later in life. And yeah, but I think probably people now understood that he actually can be taken seriously as like a musician.
Which I'm glad because he deserves a lot of flowers and he's finally getting them, which makes me happy. Really does.
Yeah.
But I'm running out of time because I have this. The
Yeah.
software only allows 2 hours at most. So I'm running out of time on there. But it was really great having you. Everyone, this
Thanks.
is Kai Danzberg. I'm gonna plug all his socials and his newest song, "A Lonely Christmas Night." It's coming out very, very soon. Few days, right?
Yeah, I mean it's available tomorrow, which would be, I don't know when this podcast comes out. It's already out.
For
So
sure.
it comes out November 25 on all streaming, and the video is already out on YouTube.
Perfect. We're gonna make sure to platform that, plug in all his stuff. Y'all go check him out. He's a musical genius. He doesn't give himself the credit, but he is a musical genius. Very good production, very good music. Highly recommend that, especially if you love the older sound. Besides that,
Thanks.
Kai, it was a pleasure having you here. I appreciate all of your stories. I appreciate all your time. And depending on how the comments say, we might have you back again in the future.
We can do that.
For sure. I do appreciate your time, boss. It was a pleasure talking to you, and it was a great episode. Hope to have you again.
Thanks for having me, man.